When I started making works on latex, there's just this feel that it is very unique and it stands out, and the material also holds the biographical history of Vietnam, my family, and also myself as a LGBT artist. So for me, the material makes the work very distinct. When I was working with latex for the first time at the start of my MA, investigating latex with paper, hessian, fabric, different types of latex, it's a very trial and error. I did research on materials, particularly materials that Vietnam manufactures and exports. And so it's rubber, which is from the latex, the rubber tree, or they export the raw natural latex or rubber. I've worked with paper in the past, and I've worked with unconventional art material. So in the past, I was already working on concrete, found objects, wood, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna give it a try and test out latex. It was a big risk because I didn't know how the medium would behave, and I think there is some risk because it's a natural material, and didn't know if it would be successful or not, and I kept continue with it. So having a scientific background or structure to think, to problem solve, and to figure out how to best make use of this material. And now it's my medium that has been my signature. Having those first 7 years in Vietnam, it really forms your taste bud, your cultural history, your family history, your cultural identity. And then growing up in Chinatown in Toronto and then immersing yourself in the Western culture, you become an immigrant family in a Western society, living in 3 distinct continents with different climates and culture. You understand that, home, the feeling of home is really what you make of it in your living space and the community of people that you surround yourself with. I don't feel at home here in Vietnam, but I feel comfortable being here. I have a British passport, but I don't feel English. I feel British, if that makes sense, but I don't feel like an English person with a British accent. And when I go back, it's my family who makes me feel at home. I think when I lived in England, I realized that my background is unique, having lived in 3 distinct continents and growing up, and also being a gay person. You're then a subset of the marginalized community. So having the need to claim or reclaim your space in society is important as a person to stand up for yourself. And in that way, making art about my life experience, I hope, creates space for other people who may look or feel like me in my life experiences. I decided to do the MA in painting at the Royal College in London in 2023. I think in the art world, having a formal education helps with your CV or being institutionalized, and particularly in the Western context where I grew up. When I was younger, my parents, I guess we were lower class-ish in Vietnam, but when we relocated to Canada, we were a lower class immigrant family. My parents did manual labor. So part of that journey of relocating and giving up so much of their life in Vietnam was for us to have an education or opportunity at education and social mobility. So they guided or highly encouraged us to do a technical field. So I chose engineering because I felt it was technical but also creative in that way. So I didn't have the option to study art. I think being a structural engineer for so long, 19 years plus 6 years of education, you're defined by gravity. whatever you make, gravity holds you down. In that way, when you're making art, you're liberated. There is so much freedom. Of course, there is gravity to consider if you're doing structures and how to hang things, but in terms of creative freedom, the sky is your limit. My first residency and my first time coming back to Vietnam as a non-tourist. I mean, I'm still a tourist, but I'm living here now for 2 months, and it's a different way of thinking to live here and just do everyday activities that the locals do. It's a different pace and balance than being a tourist. When Muchin visited and they say, well, do you want to come to Hanoi for a residency? And I said, yes, and that was it. That was always one of your wish lists, and I didn't know if it was possible or when, and when this opportunity came up. I told Sophie, I would love to do it, but I need to quit my job first. So once I quit my job, I'll let you know. So when I quit my job, I said, okay, I'm coming this summer. It feels amazing. This is day 10, and each day something exciting happens. I don't think I'm sleeping enough because the sun comes up really early and I'm excited to just get up and do things. It feels like you're a tourist without life obligations and expectations. So you're here in a very selfish way. You're here to live and immerse yourself in the culture and history and to create work. It's almost like a temporary dream holiday. I'm working, but it feels like a holiday also. Yeah, they say that when you are doing something that you love as a career, it doesn't feel like work. So every day I think about art. I would say most days I spend in the studio, even if it's 1 hour, 2 hours. In London on the weekend, I'm still in the studio doing something, or at home on Photoshop, thinking about art and reading, writing, coming up with ideas or discussing. And it doesn't feel like work. And I don't look forward to retirement because retirement for me doesn't really exist. It's just, I'm happy to do art for the rest of my life until I'm no longer here. On a day-to-day basis, I really enjoy creating art, and that keeps me motivated and happy to wake up and excited to make art. As an artist, I want to continually challenge myself mentally, and so doing research and thinking about different ways to view something, and also practically, physically creating work to push the boundary of material and form. So that's more of the technical thing. If we think holistically of what it means to be an artist, art is to live and explore. Do you have a suggestion for a name for him? Bamboo.
Bamboo?
Bamboo bear.
Bamboo bear? Mm.
Bamboo is cute. มีคู่คนอื่นข้างได้
Panda's vegetarian.